I should hit the record button. If I ever want to upload a video, it's probably useful if I actually record, rather than, you know. Welcome back to a best of 3 series of professional StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss, where in game number 1, we find ourselves on Ghost River. Ghost River for map number 1. Interesting. Okay, spawning right here in the top right-hand corner. Playing with the red Zerg drones. From Canada, we have none other than Scarlett. Her opponent in the top left, playing with the orange Protoss pieces, a color that we don't really see played very often, but it does look nice. From China, we're looking at none other than Lancer's main Nexus. Now, in case the name Lancer does not ring a bell, for some reason, very recently, the Protoss player Cyan decided to change his username. Most recently, we had a Chinese player known by the name of Time change his username as well. He went on to then win the World Championships, so that's kind of sweet. Clever strategy if you're planning on becoming a world champion. Maybe changing your username is step 1. Either way, apparently now, well, Cyan, now called Lancer, has followed in those same footsteps. What are we doing, Scarlett? Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was gonna say, I have seen Scarlett play a little bit again as of late, and in the games that she has been playing, she's been playing very cheesy. So this is what we're doing. Double gateway as a response here as well from Lancer, so we'll have to see how this one goes down. Cyan, by the way, one of the best players from China. He's been playing this game for pretty much as long as I remember. Must have been, I want to say at least Heart of the Swarm, but probably even before that. I just had a quick little look at his Wikipedia page. He's got roughly $130,000 in tournament earnings. Obviously, that does not take into consideration team salaries, sponsorships, and all the rest of it. So definitely a very successful player, but how do we respond right here against the proxy hatch rush? Scarlett, of course, well, she's not going all in with this. She is macroing behind it as well. We do have some links coming across the map, but I don't believe that his hatchery is going to live for much longer. Should be an Adept. Yep, Adept coming up. We could go Warp Gates. Could also save that resource right now and go into, for example, a Stargate. It is already a 3rd pylon here for Lancer, which is critical. If you actually don't go for the 3rd pylon here, you would hit a supply block, but... careful. I was gonna say, you don't really want to lose it. Yeah, sometimes you can sort of stutter step your Zealot there and get a 2nd hit off on the drone. That may have secured the kill, but in the end, Scarlett will be driven back home. Alrighty, so that wasn't actually too cheesy. Actually, the last games I've seen Scarlett play, she was actually going for like some Spinecrawler rushing and all kinds of hyper cheesy builds. A Sentry on the back of this here for Lancer. So no tech here whatsoever. Probably just wanted to go for that lair, or the Nexus rather over here, and then figured I may as well spend my gas on that Sentry. Because it's obviously pretty cheap as far as the minerals go, but an interesting choice. Maybe the Chinese Protoss is a little bit concerned for a potential follow-up with, for example, Banelings? Will not be the case here. He gets the full scout as well. We'll notice that there's no drones mining gas. Oh, Queens? Okay. One of them is slithering away. With targeting, I think the kill might have been secured. 3 drones, 4 drones, almost 5. If these Adepts can go home, that would be really nice for Lancer. One of them is running dangerously low. But this is one of the downsides of opening up with a proxy hatch. Usually Protoss players of a high level will be able to hold it relatively easily, and then you gotta deal with the counterattack aggression. Now look at this. Lancer is still going Stargate, but then also a really quick Twilight Council on the back of it. Alrighty then. Hallucinated Phoenix coming across too, so that Sentry is being used. If I was Scarlett in this scenario, I would not be expecting a delayed Stargate at this point, and I would also not be expecting such a quick Twilight Council in combination with the Stargate, because if you see a Sentry that's 100 gas, that could have been the Twilight Council, right? It's a rather expensive unit as far as, well, the gas cost goes. So I wonder if maybe this delayed Oracle, it's a bit of an anti-timing. I wonder if it can still put in some work, because Scarlett indeed is skipping the Spore Crawlers. Glaives on the back of this too. Okay, I'm really liking this here. Now, nice Overlord Scout. You see Scarlett immediately had that selection circle underneath the Overlord, meaning that she had vision of this Oracle as it was moving out. Question is though, did she actually see, right? Sometimes you have vision, but you don't actually see. Lancer gave her the benefit of the doubt. He saw that Overlord move, And he assumed that it was spotted, but I think he could have actually dived into the mineral line. Either way, Scarlett gets away with a few extra drones for the time being. Already though, creep tumors are being destroyed. This third hatchery is actually very disconnected. Glaives is coming, it's about a half minute still away or so, so I don't expect we're actually going to be seeing a committed shade. Getting the queen kill would be nice, okay. Honestly, really nice game here so far for Lancer. Yep. This is a perfect example as to why we don't really see a lot of proxy hatch rushing anymore these days. It's nice for the early game. You get to be in the driver's seat as the Zerg, right? You get to decide the pace of the game. But then immediately on the back of it, everything becomes a lot more complex. All right, were those additional adepts spotted? Because there's 11 of them available right now. We have a Roach Warren, but Scarlett is busy making drones. Well, at this point, the adepts are certainly seen. No reason to be able to wall in over here, so this is going to hurt. If you're a Zerg, close your eyes! Oh. Well, you know what? Somehow, somehow, some way. Those drones. That's the second time Scarlett gets away with murder. Those drones managed to slither away. Roaches will spawn. You know what? There is actually a chance. Yeah, it's still 10 drones going down, though. With this amount of adepts, you can actually fight the roaches reasonably well. Yep. Look at that. Not able to really get the kill. Another group of adepts have shaded across the map as well. They're going to be targeting down more drones. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, there is a third Nexus building. And Scarlett is getting destroyed in game number 1. Yeah. Well done right here by Lancer. Hard to really criticize any of his decisions, other than that adept shade, right? Where the drones got a little bit of a sneaky getaway there. This game has been going really, really well here for the Protoss player. Alrighty, now, is it a game-winning position just yet? Difficult to push for the Protoss. You can't usually win the game straight up with adepts. Oh, we have a Void Ray coming. I think, yeah, Lancer here is assuming that Scarlett is going to go for a Roach all-in or something along those lines. Alright, so it will actually be a Forge right now with a Robo on the back of this together with Blink. That does mean that Scarlett is going to get quite a bit of time, actually, to macro back up. Still a terrible position here for the Canadian Zerg player, but it's technically doable. You're kind of leaning into a bit of luck right now, though. So she's holding down the drone button, hoping that when those adepts finished up their glaive research, right, that, for example, charge wasn't immediately researched on the back of it. If this would have been a charge follow-up, Scarlett would be 100% dead right now. She's basically flipping a coin, and it landed on making mass drone here. So that's the plan. Just try and get full 3-base saturation and then get back to unit production. Apparently that is how we're going to try and play this one out as the Zerg, but it is a massive risk because she doesn't really know what's going on the other side of the map. And this is obviously a situation you would rather avoid, but you know what? If you are going to fall behind, you need to always think about StarCraft 2 in win conditions, right? You want to try and come up with a way to still potentially win the game. Even if it's like maybe a 25% chance. And it requires 17 mistakes from the opponent. It's better than, you know, just giving up immediately. I really like the Revelation usage as well here. Yeah, the Chinese players always play the game a little bit differently. Even though most of them practice on the Korean server, there's definitely a little bit of a stylistic difference. Like going Stargate and Twilight Council at the same time as a delayed response after a sentry is really kind of odd. I have a hard time seeing, for example, MaxPax do something along those lines. Alrighty. You know what? Scarlett has done a great job building the economy back up. Look at that. We even have a lurker den coming up right now. Now this is Lair Tech lurkers. I still think the Stalker count is too big at this point. Yeah. Yep, GG. Game number 2, we find ourselves on Alcyone. Now, I will say that changing your username as a pro gamer, especially as somebody who's been playing the game professionally for like a decade, right? In Cyan's case, changing your username. It's just so tricky, right? I mean, I kind of got it in the early days of StarCraft 2 when the game first came out and the Koreans started switching over. A lot of them were initially playing under their Brood War nicknames, and then they decided, no, that's my Brood War nickname. That is in the past. Now I've got my StarCraft 2 nickname, right? I've got a bit of a reset here. We're all playing a different game now. I guess I can try and change my username. We have players like, for example, TY, who used to go under the ID of Baby. There's a whole lot of examples that are obviously slipping my mind right now as I'm bringing this up. But long story short, changing your username is tough because you have all these years, right? Oh, hold up. It's a gold-based first right here from Scarlett. Are we gonna see a cannon rush? Yep, we will see a cannon rush. All right. Anyways, I think, long story short, bad idea. It worked for Oliveira, right? But Oliveira decided to win the World Championships. Great decision, by the way. Could recommend that to any pro gamer. Just win the World Championships. That's a great way for people to remember your ID, but it is so difficult to market yourself as a professional gamer. Like, all you really have is your playstyle, I guess, and then your nickname, right? Especially if you're like a top 25 type of player, top 50 maybe. It's quite difficult, I think, for players and for casual viewers to get used to it. Now, it's Pylon and a Photon Cannon. I think this is still going to work out. Are you going to cancel it, Scarlett? Maybe if you leave your username to something that is like similar to your previous... Oh, we're actually going to double down. Like if I change my username to, I don't know, Floko, right? That would kind of work. You can call me Floko now. Are we gonna put Yes, do it, Lancer. Oh my god. So wait, we're cannon rushing one base. Hatchery got cancelled. Photon Cannon got cancelled as well. Now we've got a Forge. It's mispositioned, I guess, because Lancer didn't quite have a probe down on the low ground and he wanted to get that Forge going quickly. Council 1. I think you Council 1. Yeah, I think that's the play. This is actually a banger of an opener right now for Lancer, though. The only problem, I guess, for Protoss is that, well, your expansion is going to be very late. It's funny, though, because for a long time, pro gamers would change their username all the time, and I would rant about this. I would think it was pretty... And then we didn't really see it for years. We haven't really seen anybody really change their username. I also think Cyan is just a good name, you know? Actually, that's not true. We've had Vanya. Vanya changed his username to Ratata, which was an interesting choice. Yeah, pro gamers do change their username from time to time. I just think it's not ideal. But anyways... Adept goes down, but gets the second drone. Yeah, Spirit changed his username. But Spirit's username I kind of like, because he went from the username Soul to the username Spirit, which is still in the same category. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Ratata changed his username again, so he went from Vanya to Ratata to Wayne. He now plays under the username of Wayne. I actually think Vanya is probably the best of the three, but anyways. Special was very well known back in the early days of StarCraft 2 for changing his username about 100 times. Every tournament he would play, there was a new username for Special. He's been running with the username Special for probably about 8 years at this point. Maybe even longer than that, but... it's just so difficult, you know? It's so difficult for... Because ultimately, if you are looking to represent a team, right? Your results matter, but also your legacy. And I feel like if you have a more casual approach to watching StarCraft 2, aka... You know, I had to find out by watching... by looking at the Wikipedia page very deliberately and figuring out that Lancer was actually Cyan, right? Like, if you follow the game pretty well, I think... you will forget within probably about a year that Lancer used to be Cyan and Cyan used to be Lancer, you just kind of lose like a decade worth of reputation, I guess, which seems silly. But anyways, you can do whatever you like. But I think from a business point of view, bad idea. Like, imagine if I changed my username, as we have a gold base coming up, by the way, right now for Lancer. Imagine I change my username to, like, a season, right? Or, like, an animal, like a hamster or something. That would make no sense. Or maybe, like, a pig. Actually, I just realized there's multiple StarCraft content creators that are named after animals! I could be Spring Gaming, or maybe like Summer Gaming, or something like that. More appropriate, at least for the current time of the year over here. Autumn Gaming. This is a neat little game, though. Scarlett getting outplayed a little bit again strategically, but she's in a good position here in the game regardless. She doesn't currently know about the gold base, which makes this all a little bit tricky. She's got vision over at the third bases, so there's 2 third base locations, but she doesn't know about the gold. And that makes this game a bit tricky for Scarlett, because there's a good assumption here for her to make that this is going to be some sort of 2-base all-in for the Protoss player. Although, judging by the way she's playing it, there were still drones coming up. Yeah, 4th hatchery also building for her, so maybe it is okay. Ooh, look at these guys. Absolute snipers coming in from the side. They did manage to get the drone in the end. Careful, little Overlord. Overlord? What? Okay, Lowko. Like, calling an Immortal a Marauder or a Marauder an Immortal, I kind of get. Calling a Void Ray an Overlord? Probably shouldn't do that. Hydrodan coming up right now for Scarlett here, so she's just trying to play the macro game. I've seen a lot of Zerg players at the highest level complain about ZVP late game lately. It's kind of funny because it used to be favored for the Zerg for quite a while, quite a few years. Protoss players always had this urgency in their play. They were trying to end the game before it really went the distance. But now the tables have, yeah, I guess they've turned. But the way that Scarlett is playing this right now is very macro focused. She's not really trying to end the game anytime soon. Nice little stasis ward here, but the roaches will still be able to push this back. That extra speed boost, obviously, of the creep is quite nice. But Lancer has been very focused on just denying a lot of the creep. You can see that the top lane of this map, quite like actually what she's done here with the creep going straight towards this base. Normally this is the 4th base of the Protoss on this map, but obviously Lancer's expansion pattern here has already been a little bit different. Just good old Roach Hydra right now, though, for the Zerg. That's what we used to do back in my day. Back in my day, that's all we did. These days, though, normally it's followed up with lurkers. We should see an infestation pit, but she's not gone for it yet, so the timings here are all a little bit funky. Generally speaking, if you want to go lurkers in the current meta, you really see the players rushing it out super quickly. Maybe this is Scarlett just putting a lot of respect right now on the Stalker ball, but eventually Lancer should transition towards some other units himself as well. I really like the economy here, though. Oh, we have a bit of an attempt, but the Stalker should be able to get away easy peasy, except for that guy. Screw you in particular. I like how they opened the door after he died. Do you think that's revenge? Or they're just rubbing salt in the wound over here? Hard to say, but the mineral fields are starting to run at least a little skinny over here, so the opening into that base will get larger. I think what Scarlett is trying to do is just do a big push towards this golden mineral line. It is Roach Hydra, but this base is quite difficult to defend for the Protoss player. Battery overcharge gets used again. A lot of micro potential here, especially for the Protoss player. There's no Immortals in the mix, though, so that makes all of this a little tricky. Void Ray eventually goes down, but does bait still a couple of the Biles. You know what's better than a concave? A circle. Although I guess it depends on what side of the circle you're on, I guess. It could just be an extended concave. Lovely defense here by Lancer in the end, but still a very costly one as well. Scarlett should have a ton of reinforcements coming. That might be able to seal the deal, but very well managed right here by the Protoss. Creep spread though now heading towards the natural expansion of the Protoss as well. +3 coming up. We have a full counterattack? I think this is a bit of an overextension actually by Lancer. Since the creep is not that great on this side of the map, I guess you can kind of test the waters a bit, but it's a dangerous decision. Still no Hive. Still no additional Evo chamber upgrades either. I think maybe going +1 carapace, even melee upgrades would not be a bad call. Yeah. Thank you for agreeing with me and making me look smart. I appreciate that. Lurker Dan coming up together with Infestation Pit, and then we also have a new expansion mate in the far top left-hand corner of the map. Lancer now taking the expansion in between the 3rd and the 4th. Or, this was the 3rd actually, the 3rd and the 4th. This is going to be the 5th base right over here on the right side. Next time Scarlett decides to go for an attack, there will be a prism inside of the main base. But this Hive Tech transition for Scarlett is exceptionally late. And she didn't really achieve too much with the Roach Hydra. Like, it was a reset as far as the army goes. So that's nice, I guess. But she's now replacing the lost units with more of the same. And there's a reason why normally we see a transition towards other units that just don't scale that well into the late game. Here's the Hive Snipe, potentially. Yeah, these are +2 melee zealots. They don't mess around. There's the Hive gone. Can we save a couple of them? Nah. Prism was taking its tea break. Do we have any observers, by the way? Yeah, there's 2 of them available right now. I think Lancer is going to start getting rid of all of the creep here in the top lane. What? Didn't I just see 2 volleys of Stalkers going onto that creep tumor? Am I losing my mind right now? I saw 2 volleys connect with that creep tumor. He must have just barely lost vision because it's behind that line of sight blocker. Yeah. What? Alright. Those bullets of the Stalker disappear. Nobody knows where they went. It's kind of like when a ghost gets sniped in the middle of a tactical nuke. It's just orbiting the platform now, I guess. A Colossus transition. Coming up. I can like it. It's, generally speaking, not a great play against the Lurker transition. But obviously, since the Lurker transition is going to be so late, I mean, we can technically make Lurkers right now, but Lurkers kind of suck without their Hive Tech upgrades. Colossi are really strong against the Hydra army. There are a few Lurkers in the mix. Yeah. These are Pavlov's Lurkers right over here, though. They look like Lurkers, they smell like Lurkers, their nickname is Lurker. But they're really not that good as Lurkers right now. You really need those Hive Tech upgrades, but normally at 13 minutes, you would not want to be fighting those bad boys as the Protoss player with a ground-based army that is mostly Stalkers and Colossi. Nidus Network coming up. We'll probably see an attempt into the main base as the Templar transition is undergoing here. So we have the Dark Templar together with the Templar Archives. Another hatchery gets cancelled or even killed here at the bottom of the map. Very impressed with the way that Lancer is going about this so far. Lovely work. Another Nexus is building right now in the bottom right-hand corner. I wouldn't mind, though, a committed push here before that Hive Tech can really kick in. We would need a lot more Immortals. And probably a few Archons as well, just try and tank some of this damage. Scarlett, in the meantime, is turtling up. And she's taking another expansion here in the far top left-hand corner of the map. But that is a difficult spot to defend. A group of Zealots can easily clear that out, but there's a good chance that Lancer doesn't realize that that one is taking. Yeah, it's taken right now. So, expansion at the bottom gets killed. It triggers that expansion over in the top left. Much like our Protoss, though, trying to take a cheeky gold base earlier, Scarlett is now also going for a very risky expansion, one that's easily picked off. So we're actually just doing everything. Look at this, Fleet Beacon coming up, We have a second Cyber Core for the air upgrades. Storm coming. We have the Blink upgrade for the Dark Templar as well. Shadow Strike. We're going into +1 shields. Essentially all of the late game upgrades that you would ever need as Protoss, while still clearing bases. There's no Vipers yet. Again, that Hive Tech snipe really makes the game super difficult. Lovely movement here as well by the Protoss. I really like it, actually. It's easy to get caught right here between these lurkers, but I think Lancer Air is looking at this. He's like, okay, I've killed the Hive. It's gonna take you at least like 5 minutes to go back up towards that Hive Tech. If that's the case, I don't really have to worry about a Lurker Viper transition just yet. Now, that is the key word, just yet, or the key words. These pushes are very difficult to do when your Colossi and your Immortals get abducted one at a time into a dozen Lurkers or so. So it is critical here that Lancer does not get overly aggressive. He does see the Vipers here. Very important bit of vision. So now that's a big indicator that the movement we've been doing around the map probably has to stop. Expansion at the bottom will not go down. Nope. Dark Templar in the main base, though. Hydra then falls. Lancers everywhere. Although, yeah, this is exactly what I was warning for. A couple of the Colossi do get abducted. Overextension here by the Protoss, who's now using the lost supply, though. Those Zealots going down, the Dark Templar going down. So we have, I think, was that a... What was that? Is that the spawning pool? Yeah, it must have been the pool. Anyways, with all of those expensive Protoss units going down, and some of the cheaper ones as well, we're gonna replace it with some of the big boys. Carriers building. Additional Stargates coming up. We've already had double upgrades researching for a little bit. I would love to see the +2 startup for the carriers, because carriers just benefit from the air upgrades so much, especially the attack. Yep, there it is. The +2 is actually a critical research, especially for carriers. Every single interceptor shoots twice, so it has an attack coming from every side of the interceptor. And obviously one carrier can carry 8 interceptors. So you effectively get +16 damage for every single one of these upgrades, which is pretty good. Better get those going. Obviously the armor upgrade is nice, but not quite as important. The next attack from Lancer is gonna hit like a truck. It should be High Templar. We don't have any High Templar. Huh. Yeah, I think you want to get rid of some of the Stalkers here and make High Templar, because there is Storm. Okay. Well, you know what? Without High Templar, I actually think this fight might be manageable for the Zerg player. Okay, Viper for a Colossus. I think that's... Oh, no. Doesn't even get the Colossus. I think that's still an even trade, though, for Protoss at this point. Those Colossi aren't really that good. Problem is, exactly, like, Corruptors are the go-to answer against carriers. So you gotta trigger Corruptors against carriers pretty much no matter what you do. And obviously the Colossi just melt to those as well. I'm a little surprised, though, that we see so many carriers, but very few High Templar. Even a Mama ship would not be a bad call. I like what Scarlett is doing here. She is trying to buy time. She realizes that she's been slowed down a ton. So we may as well just go around the map and try to create some distractions. She's been soft-contained on the amount of bases that she's got. But right now, yeah, she's broken free of most of that. So the expansions in the top left are gone at this point. But she is, okay, ready to become next-door neighbors with the Protoss. Now, as we all know, Protoss players hate neighbors. Yeah, they want to live in the open field. Preferably shoot lasers at anybody else who comes close. So let's see. I don't think Lancer is going to appreciate this all too much, but he may just stumble upon the neighbor's home here in just a moment. That's just a foundation. Look at what they do with foundations of their neighbors. Look at this. Just destroyed right away. Very toxic behavior. Anyways, in the meantime, small group of lurkers up north. Still enough, though, to deal with these zealots, and obviously lurkers do outrange photon cannons. Fight over here. I don't like this choke point, as we do now have some Templar underneath. Good abduction right there by the Zerg. One more? Alright. The carrier does fall. Ooh, we're doing a recall? Yep. So how do we proceed from here? There's 81 supply worth of probes here. At the moment, because of that, Scarlett's army is bigger. So she's been oh yeah. He just got rid of one of his probes there. Only to warp in one zealot? Okay. Anyways. Yeah, Scarlett is using that static defense here to try and turtle up as hard as possible. Oh my god, we're even killing our own Colossi now. It's so sad. Remember that one Christmas morning? Lancer was asking for many years now, can I please, oh my god, have a Colossus? At the same time, we have an accidental Immortal donation as well in the top left though. And this is a lot more painful. Those Immortals are not meant to die at this stage in the game yet. They were just here to clear out about 5 or so lurkers that were in that position in the meantime. Apparently the Protoss army was sleeping on the job over here too. High Templar not ready to feed back those Vipers, and Scarlett wins another skirmish. This is going from bad to worse right now for the Protoss. Suddenly, after being very far ahead in this game, Lancer is up with his back against the wall. He still has money. He's still got good upgrades. The army is not to be underestimated. Careful with the High Templar. Ooh, okay. This is where the Immortals would be so nice. You need storms on this. Storm, storm, storm. Hello, where's the storm? Ah, those were like 30 seconds late. Now we're overstorming. I think Lancer is throwing this. In the meantime, there's a lurker skirmish together with Zerglings up north as well. Lancer is falling apart. Mama Ship was building in that Nexus too. Obviously, the Nexus fell. Suddenly, we have a 70 supply, 80 supply-ish deficit for the Protoss player. Nidus Worm coming up as well, so Scarlett can always send these ground units back home if she needs to. Another abduction. No High Templar here. We're gonna recall what? 2 carriers? 2 carriers to where? Oh, okay. We just recalled them because we were panicking. If you select your Nexus hotkey and you just recall, it's gonna go to the closest by Nexus. So Lancer just trying to save whatever he can. Yep. And that is unfortunate for the Protoss. But good for Scarlett and good for us. Because I believe that means we're going to game 3. This doesn't look like a situation that Scarlett is going to let go of anymore. Really well done here by Scarlett though. She knew that she needed something. So she tried creating opportunities where the opponent could potentially make mistakes. And sometimes you don't just get one mistake. Sometimes, like a house of cards, it all comes crumbling down, right? And sequence of events right there that was pretty terrible for the Protoss. Scarlett won every single one of those fights. And now suddenly, the Chinese Protoss has been pushed all the way towards just the right side of the map. Yeah, she had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything she ever wanted. And now there is spaghetti on her sweater. But at the very least, I think she also got a win. It's mom's spaghetti though, so it's fine. Oh, we're gonna try and target down a Viper. It's all about small victories. Problem is, these guys are blinking around, right? We're having a good time. We're blinking, we're sniping, we're doing whatever we can. But ultimately, I just don't see a way out of this at all for Protoss. Scarlett has been taking this very safely, right? Obviously, she doesn't know how much money there is still remaining for the Protoss. There's another abduction. High Templar still mispositioned. Ay, 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 ay. Yep. Balance-wise, you see players complain, but ultimately, it is all about who plays better StarCraft. And even though Lancer may have been ahead in like the first 15 minutes of the game, it turns out the only ones that really matter are the last few. GG is cold, as more units get abducted. It's Scarlett who evens up the score. Game number 3. We find ourselves on Oceanborn. Let's see. Are we gonna have a normal early game? So game number 1 started with a proxy hatch. Game number 2 started with a cannon rush. What are we gonna do now on Oceanborn? I was already thinking about skipping the first 2 minutes. Because normally, pretty much every single ZVP that I cast, it starts off, well, conventionally, right? We've all seen the early game of ZVP. At least I think so. The normal early game, that is, but... Alright, let's talk about it. So the absolute gold standard is for Protoss to do exactly this. Go for a cheeky little probe scout, block the 16 supply hatchery from the Zerg. The Zerg goes down and over towards the 3rd base location and builds the base. I think Scarlett is fed and it's just fed up with all of this Protoss blocking shenanigans. So she still takes the natural. Is she going to save up resources and go hatch? One of those hatcheries in her own natural, the other one in the opponent's natural. She just doesn't want to have her expansion blocked again, I don't think. Okay, I love this from Lancer. Lancer realizes that the gas and the spawning pool should have been taken. So rather than sending the probe down at 400 minerals, he sends the probe early. And there's the Nexus. Okay, mind game unsuccessful here for the Zerg, but a nice attempt. That's why that probe scout is so critical. Just getting that info here early on, very, very nice. Okay, the follow-up from Scarlett will still be a gas and then a spawning pool. This is, of course, going to delay everything. Because in order to go for queens, you do need to have a spawning pool. In order to go for link speed, you obviously need to have 100 gas and also the spawning pool. So everything is going to be a bit delayed. So I'm assuming, yes, we're going to take a 3rd base earlier, because otherwise there would be too much money. So Scarlett does decide to send that drone that went on a field trip towards the other side of the map, and she turns that one into a hatch over at the 3rd base location. Cybercore has come up at 20 supply right after the Nexus. That is at least the gold standard. I didn't pay attention to the production tab exactly, but I think it should be 20 supply Nexus into a 20 supply Cybercore as well. And then we should expect a Stargate. Stargate or Twilight Council. Warp Gates, however, have started up. He's going to cancel Warp Gates and go for the Stargate. We'll probably see the restart on the Cybercore upgrade here in just a moment. Yep. Hoping maybe that Scarlett noticed it, but didn't notice that it wasn't researching there for a little bit. But that little mind game is very, very common. Protoss players love playing that at this level. So basically, when you finish up your Cybercore, you usually don't have enough gas to go for both the Adept as well as the Stargate at the same time. So while you are saving up resources to go up towards the Stargate, you spend and you park, right? You invest into the Warp Gate research. Overlord usually sees that the Cybercore is spinning, at which point sometimes Zerg players will think, okay, if you go for the Cybercore upgrade first, it means that you are not planning on rushing out a Stargate. So they park the 50-50, the 50 minerals, 50 gas, cancel it, make the Stargate, and then go back into the Warp Gate research. It's a tiny little mind game, but if you have 300 APM or more, you may as well. Void Ray coming up here for Lancer as his very first unit. That is a little funky. Notice the rally point here? He's looking to get 2 Overlords. Yeah, he wants to get this one and then go back home and kill the first. I think a Void Ray opener is good if you can get 2 kills. Not so good if you only get a single OB kill, but this is already quite nice. I think these Adepts should be able to get out. No. Well, 3 of them is still good. Yep, Overlord has been spotted. Lovely movement here by Lancer. I really like this. So the Overlord over here on the other side of the map has nowhere to run. So this one should go down. We should activate the prismatic alignment. Alright. Maybe not. Make the beam thick for intimidation purposes primarily, of course. Yeah, I like what Lancer is doing a lot in this series. I feel like, honestly, the first, what was it, like 15 minutes or so of that previous game on Alcyone were really hard to criticize as well. But then he sort of dropped the ball. Loving the early game, though. Twilight Council together with a Forge. Oracle goes around the site. There is a Spore, so at least Scarlett will be able to catch a bit of a break. 2 drones is still not bad. Alright. Roachborn right now on the back of this, and we should see a lair here. Right now. Right now. Right now? Right now? Okay, I tried. She'll probably start it as soon as I move my camera. Adept's coming across. Ah, there it is. Technically a little late, but it's okay. Adepts are gonna try and see if they can get a couple more kills in combination with those oracles. Nice little bit of movement here though, once again by Lancer. A lot of lost mining time on those drones. Yeah, if they can kill one or two more... Yeah, one or two more workers is really good. Oh my god, one more? Yeah. Wow. Oracles in the meantime get another couple kills. Void right here, pretending that it's also doing something useful. I help. All right. Thank you, buddy. We all love you very much. This is like the Luigi of the Protoss team right here. This is the little brother. I got to shoot lasers at the gas geyser. Well done. Well done, buddy. You did it. Oh, he's doing it again. He's trying his best, and we gotta respect it. He's learned about it. Now we're gonna activate the prismatic alignment, and you know what? Look at this absolute legend after killing 2 overlords. Oh, oh, no, Scarlett. Scarlett hates little brothers. Yeah, she hates Luigi. It's okay. I don't even know if that controller was plugged in, if I'm being honest. 7 overlords coming up. Scarlett a little flustered though. She goes into a Hydra then together with an infestation pit. Fourth hatchery at least is coming, but it's all a little awkward now. I would love to see Lancer go for more of like a timing attacky based unit comp, right? Something in the mid game that's a little bit more punchy. Maybe playing the long game is fine, but it was clear that in the late game of, well, the previous match, there were one too many balls to juggle, and at some point Lancer just, yeah, ran into some issues. I don't know, it felt a little unnecessary. This is not a game where he's quite as far ahead as he was in the previous one. There's the lurker den coming up. Hive is building. If we would see... Ooh. Hero moment. That's the first thing that goes through my mind now whenever I see a bunch of links running into somebody's main. Hero moment? Hero doesn't even really do that anymore. He used to all army hotkey a little too much, I guess. Anyways, in the previous game, obviously, Lancer, right about this point in the game, he warped in like 10 zealots, killed the hive, and that was it, right? Like, that really solidified the advantage. Didn't really capitalize on it so much, though, which is fine. I don't think you really need to, like, try and go and win the game in the next couple minutes, but it did give Scarlett enough time to get potentially back into it, and then ultimately she ended up managed to bring it home. Now we're in a situation where Protoss is a little bit ahead, I would say, but not significantly so. Now we have the Colossus coming up, but it's Colossus when the Hydras are just about to transform into a couple of lurkers. We'll probably see Vipers at a reasonable time as well, although Scarlett a little bit concerned about this Protoss army marching around the perimeter. Getting the kill on this base would be quite nice. This is now the 5th hatch, by the way. 4th base has been remade here at the bottom of the map. Would have loved to see a Zealot run by over here. But anyways. I mean, Lancer does have an awful lot of units. Lurkers are coming, though. Seismic Spines is also researching. That's the Lurker ranged upgrade. The Roach Hydra Ball is also not to be underestimated. These do have +1 attacks. Same can be said, though, for the ground army here of the Protoss. Very deliberate with the creep cleaning. Yeah. Lancer likes to keep a tidy environment. Don't really want to have a messy side of the map, you know? It makes sense. Not one of those Zergy pro gamers who just has a whole lot of mess on their desk and a bunch of mice laying around and takeout from like 3 weeks ago. That is not the Protoss way, apparently. Alright, Scarlett manages to push this army back. Overextension there from Lancer. We do have a group of zealots sleeping on the job for just a little bit, but no worries, they're gonna wake up. Wake me up! Wake me up! Do it! What? What? Where you guys... Huh? Okay. You could have killed that base. Where are you guys going? Oh, okay. You know what? That worked out, I guess. Here's another group of zealots. I was thinking it's wake me up in sight, but maybe it's the pretender instead. What if I said I'm not like the... And, you know, then they just ran by everything. Yeah. They were pretending to kill that base. Wake me up before you... No, that one doesn't really work. That was a kill on the base. So 300 minerals down the drain, plus the cost of the drone. Scarlett's sitting at 91 workers. She did remake another base as well, though, in the bottom left-hand corner. This is one step further from the fourth. These bases always look mostly identical, but... That's an important expansion, though, at this point for the Zerg. And I like this, actually, right here from Lancer. So Lancer is doubling down on the Robo Bay play as well. So, for a long time, and this is kind of like a relatively recent development, but for a long time, Protoss players believed that they could not kill lurkers with a ground-based army of their own. And I think this has almost been like a little hush-hush in the pro-gamer Zerg side of things. Like the Zerg pro-gamers, they've never really talked about it too much. But I've seen a lot of games over the last few months where Immortal Archon does perfectly fine. Especially with Zealots and Storms and Run-bys and all that against lurkers. The main problem, I guess, that you run into is if the lurkers are in combination with Brute Lords. So Brute Lord Lurker is very dangerous. But against just lurkers, Hydra Lurker Roach, Immortal Archon Zealot armies are really good. So seeing the additional robo facilities is kind of nice. Quite a popular follow-up for Zerg in the late game as well, even though we didn't really see it in the previous game, is a transition towards Ultralisks. Ooh. So this is a very quick Mama ship this time around. Very different play from Lancer this time. So he's going into Mass Immortal production right now. +1 Air is researching, but we're not getting it going just yet. And then a transition towards a ground-based Protoss army. Very robo-heavy. And then into the Mothership. How many spells will the Mothership be able to cast before it gets abducted? Put in your final answer right now. I'm gonna say it's gonna cast 1 Time Warp and 1 Cloak. And then we will instantly see the abduction. It will die. Yeah, that's my prediction. Honestly, Lancer wasn't really impressing me all too much with the High Templar positioning in the previous game. We saw a lot of unnecessary abductions. A lot of units got picked off and just killed for free. High Templar technically outranged the Vipers with their feedback ability, but you have to be so on point with your positioning of the army, because the units are a little clumsy. It could take a while for them to get close. Yeah, we're just marching around the map now. Okay. There's the second Cybercore. Should be for the air armor. We are already researching shields as well. So Lancer is basically just transitioning once again towards a full Skytools army, but with a lot more ground units in the mix this time around. This went quite terribly wrong, though, in the previous game for him. And in this situation, I do like Scarlett's position better than in the previous one. Overall, I still think this is a tough position for Zerg in the current meta, but Scarlett was managing it really well in the previous game. Yep, there's the nice little abduction. Mothership is out. It knows it's going to die in 2 casts, because that's what I predicted. So, it's hiding in fear. It doesn't want to die. I get it. I get it. Okay. Nice storms. Really lovely storms. Pretty quick splits as well by Scarlett. She just doesn't have the units here to really push through any of this. There's the Tectonic Destabilizers coming up together with the Void Ray Speed. So we're getting all of the proper late game upgrades here. These upgrades are pretty sweet when you have a lot of resources. There's the mothership. Oh god, she's moving. Okay, only a little bit. Whew. I was gonna say, at this rate, it's not even gonna get a single spell off. Is this just a glorified recall point at this point? Is that what we're doing? I mean, we do have double recall available, I guess. Yoink, yoink! Not properly positioned right there on the High Templar. You can see. I mean, this is not even working out terribly for the Protoss. This army just hits very hard. Huh. You know what? That actually worked out reasonably well. Lancer is going to be able to secure this high ground expansion. And even though he didn't want to be neighbors with the Zerg in the previous game, Scarlett is just around the corner. Yeah, if you need any help, if you need, I don't know, like a cup of sugar, or maybe, ooh, here's the recall towards Mama. Maybe you need to take care of somebody else's cat, right? They can take care of each other's pets. Scarlett maybe has like a pet Zergling. Nidus Worm as well coming up north. Time Warp coming up though. Little dangerous. That's spell number 1, by the way. Oh, spell 2. Spell 2. Spell 2. And... oh my god. That was 2? Yeah, yeah. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I'll be here all week. I'll be here all week. That deserves hitting the like button, no? Oh, now we're gonna recall to that base in the bottom left. 2 spells exactly. I do kind of like this. I do kind of like this. Oh, actually, you know what? This... it was 3. The Protoss army got recalled to the mothership. I was wrong. Never mind. Still hit the like button. Yeah, because I was wrong, you gotta hit the like button too. Those were the rules. I don't make them. Anyways, we've got a big attack over here from the Zerg player trying to snatch up a lot of these units before all of that static defense from the Protoss player kicks in. This is a really scary push though, because Lancer is making a lot of static defense deep onto the map. We have still a couple of Stalkers left over. Okay, they're gonna try and fight this. Can we please target fire down the observers? I'm a little surprised, yeah, that the observers are allowed to live for that long. Reinforcing Zerg units are showing up. We do have the Greater Spire at this point that's done, which I don't think would be a terrible decision. Mothership is going to reincarnate here in just a moment, this location, but at the same time, a group of Zealots in the bottom right-hand corner. These guys do not have Pretender on. Maybe they do, actually. Maybe it's complimentary when you're putting on your Zealot suit. You get to have a Walkman. What if I said I'm not like the others? What if I said I'm not just... yeah. There they go. Walkman? Does any... no? Alright. Anyways. We've got ourselves another snipe on a hatch. And then a transition from the Zerg into a Brother Lords. There they are. The good old Walkman. I remember having a Walkman when I was a kid. But that's because I'm old. Yeah. I think the Broodlords are good, but now most of this Protoss army is air. Previously, it was very ground-focused, and since a few minutes have gone by, maybe a minute or so, a lot of the flying units have shown up again. Brutes are still good. They make it difficult for Protoss to make, for example, a Stalker transition. But it's also quite difficult to push with this Zerg army. Scarlett is gonna try. Okay, some lovely storms. Really good storms right there from Lancer. A lot of the static defense from the Protoss has disappeared. But at the very least, it's alive. And ooh. Yeah, you may have detection, but that's a lot of invisible men. Invisible men with orange capes. Look at that. Never mind. They're gone. No more capes. The capes are gone. Lancer hates capes. Here's the recall again. The Mama ship is gonna be included in the recall as well. Suddenly, that Protoss army appears on the other side of the map. This expansion is left alone, other than this one Oracle. He's like, wait, where did you guys go? What's going on? Luckily here though, for Lancer, this army is going to completely catch the Zerg player off guard. I really like the recall movement here. Yep, kill that base, get out. Entire Zerg army, look how slow it is. Tries to make its way over here, but by the time they even remotely get close, that expansion is already dead. Can we get some fungals maybe? Try and snatch a couple of these units up? Nice movement right here with the Templar. Okay. Shadow Stride is coming. Ultra Cavern, researching chitinous plating. Neural Parasite? Baneling Speed. Yeah, I like these upgrades when the Zerg has like 10,000 resources in the bank. We're not quite there yet. It's kind of costly at this rate anyways. But +3 armor would be a more reasonable choice. That expansion is gonna go down. But Lancer did take a base on the right side of the map. That's a lot of Archons. A lot of power that's overwhelming over here. I haven't really seen Lancer play all too much, or Cyan in general. I haven't really seen him play in a ton of games, but I know he's been participating. I know he's been getting some results, but I gotta say, I am very impressed. I think this series shows that there's a lot of range in what the man's capable of, and just a lot of... yeah, not afraid to play another late game, right? Like, that previous game, I personally would have been almost a little bit embarrassed. Oh my god, that's a lot of Archons. Why do we have 12 Archons? That's too many Archons, actually. Anyhow, I would have been a little bit embarrassed, and I would not have been keen to play this type of game again. But nicely done. Oh, oh, those Archons got a recall. 24 kills! That guy just got a recalled into Banelings. Look how much he cared. He's already back up to full shields pretty much. Ay, ay, ay. So it'll be difficult for Lancer to take both of these bases, right? The one on the left, but also the one on the right. But ultimately, just taking 50% of the map is the main goal right here of the Protoss. As long as he can take half of the map, life's good. Here's another Time Warp. Here's another Cloaking Field. The Lurkers decide to just sit inside of that bubble. Scarlett not afraid to back off, but she decided not to. I think the Archon count is actually too big. So there's like an upper limit on Archons, mostly because of the fact that they're kind of big, right? They're kind of clumsy. So if you have this many of them, usually about half of them are not going to be fighting. You probably don't want to go over like 8 Archons or so. Having no Archons is also dumb, because then... here they go. My god, this is the surplus right over here. Look how many. Anyways, if you have no Archons, then the Corruptors can come in and just destroy your Skytools army. That is a lot of glowy boys. But you know what? That does make for a glorious video thumbnail. I think I found my thumbnail. Oh god, hello, where are we going? Oh no, Lancer, not again. Okay. These are expensive units, by the way. Going into this many Archons is too much. But at the same time, you also can't really donate them so much. Yeah, he's looking to get an efficient trade. A couple of Zealots join in the fray as well, giving another target for those Lurkers. And you know what? That was a surprisingly effective exchange. Without Immortals in the mix, rarely do you see Archons without Immortals. But the Zealots also put in a lot of damage. Okay, you know what? That fight went way better than I thought it was going to be. Alright, here come the Brute Lords down south though. Corruptors and Vipers waiting as well. Are we gonna see feedbacks? We do! Great activation as well on the Mothership's Cloak. That's the type of sequence we want to see right there. Perfectly defended by Lancer. Kills the base at the bottom. Ultra inside of that cocoon. Lancer. More like Dancer? Nah, tightrope dancer, maybe. That was really close. We gotta be careful here with how we position our units, but that went okay. We need more feedbacks. Hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him. Okay, well, you know what? We didn't hit him, but at least they died. Photon cannon doesn't need to be targeted. Obviously, the main issue you run into if your High Templar are too exposed, then suddenly the Brute Lords can put in a lot of work. How many Tempests are we on? Only 3. I think you want to go 5 Tempests to be able to one-shot the Brutes. In the meantime, the Archon squad has been cleaned up, or at least thinned out a little bit, since there's a lot of Ultras coming up. Ultras are really good when there's no Immortals in the mix. So that's exactly why Immortals are back on the menu right now. So we go from an air-based army for both players into a bit more of a ground-focused one. Now that the Archons have mostly disappeared as well, I mean, there's still 5 of them available, but not a lot of them have disappeared. Banelings also become better. So, this transition right now for the Protoss is mostly just to go into Ultra killing. Yeah, this is a specialized moment. Can we do some feedbacks? Some feedback, some storms, some time warps? Yeah, not bad. A lot of spore crawlers on the low ground as well, though. Here's the Ultras coming in. Immortals get recalled, I would imagine? No, it's actually just the area units. That means that this expansion is quite vulnerable. But at the same time, Scarlett also knows that then the Protoss army can potentially move in over here to the bottom. And she's hunting right now. She knows that a lot of these Protoss units are mostly unprotected. I think there's only 1 Templar in the mix. That means, yep, that those Protoss units are all gonna die. And that's painful. I don't think you want to warp in Stalkers right next to a bunch of Ultras. And this is giving me deja vu to game number 2. Lancer, again, in a really good position. Dropped the ball. He wants to mine both of these bases, but why? There's no reason to mine both. If you mine 50% of the map, you end up winning pretty much every single time. So, like, why aim for 60%? Oh, misplay right here as well from Scarlett. She felt bad for that entire loss of the Protoss army, so she donated 2 full HP and 2 full energy Vipers. Okay, so the general gameplay goal, right, for Protoss in the late game, usually at least, is to mine 50% of the map because of the Protoss cost efficiency advantage. Problem is, Lancer's been trying to hold on to a couple of really difficult locations, and he's been forced to sacrifice a lot of expensive units. So normally, Protoss trades better than Zerg do in the long game, but in this particular instance, not the case. So Scarlett has been on the back foot here for quite a while, just like what we saw on Alcyone. And now suddenly, the Zergling Ultra Ball is starting to break through. No Immortals available in this location of the map either. Obviously, this is still a Protoss army that demands respect. It really still hits a punch, or packs a punch. Scarlett actually doesn't have a lot of gas, so that might make the game a little awkward. These gases over here have been denied for some time. The ones over at the bottom of the map are mined out. This expansion is critical right now for Scarlett, but okay, recall is going to keep this Nexus and a lot of the technology here for Lancer alive. Scarlett actually needs more anti-air. She currently has 21 Corruptors, 1 Viper, 1 Infestor. That's not a ton. How many Spores are we on? Just the 3 of them. So Lancer's done a great job as well, picking those off. Scarlett has a lot of minerals here, at least relatively speaking. We probably should see static defense. We really need to see these gases mined. Yeah, I think Spore Crawlers and gas is really what you're aiming for. Yeah, good thing she saved this gas geyser about 25 minutes ago against Luigi the Void Ray. Turned out to be a pivotal moment. Okay, abduction on the mama ship. Nicely done. Clean execution there by Scarlett. Making that sequence look easy. It's actually not that easy. If you look at the Corruptors and the Vipers, and it's actually not that easy to micro that. Pro gamers always make that move look so smooth. Ooh, she's gonna steal a base. Yeah. The idea being that we need gas. Lancer still has a decent army, though. Fungal! Big Fungal. That's a massive Fungal. Normally, those Immortals are really good against Ultras. But with the Zerglings and that Fungal growth, making it difficult for any of these units to get microed. Yep. Scarlett gets another, I think, about as good a trade as you can hope for. Plus, this base actually lives. In the meantime, though, Lancer is moving forward. He's thinking about taking that expansion from the Zerg. Also, obviously, mostly broke. Another mothership is coming up. Most expensive unit that he can make here. Interestingly enough, Scarlett never got the +3 carapace for the Zerg ground. And Lancer never got the +3 armor for the ground. So basically, neither player got the carapace for the ground. Or the armor. I do really like the switching of the bases, though. They keep flip-flopping back and forth. Okay, good position right there on the Templar. Ready to feed back. There's actually not enough energy right now on that Viper for an abduction anyways. With good storms, Protoss can 100% win this. I think that was one abduction. Can we do some storming? Oh my god. We do have an Overseer in the mix over here, so that provides enough vision. That Mothership's cloaking is nice. But you know what? This Protoss air army still hits really hard. Is there enough? I think there is. Those Tempest and Carriers doing a good enough job, and Lancer clumping up all of those units to make it difficult to target fire down individual Protoss units. How much anti-air still remains? 5 Corruptors. That was the perfect opportunity for a parasitic bomb, but Scarlett only had a single Viper and it used 1 abduction on a Tempest. I don't think it had enough energy for a parabomb. I didn't even think it had enough energy right there for an abduction, but evidently it did. Parasitic bomb is a little bit more expensive. But I think Lancer, upon seeing that indeed there weren't a lot of Vipers, decided to clump those units together. Because without parabomb, you don't have to be too worried about such things. Oh my god. All of the tech is disappearing. In the meantime, though, the Zerglings and the Ultras have gone across the map. I don't think Scarlett can fight this army head on. She has a lot of anti-ground, but very little units that actually shoot up. And at this point, the only units that, well, Protoss still has are units that fly. Entire main base of the Zerg at this point is gone. It might be worth noting that the win condition in a game of StarCraft 2 is to destroy the opponent's structures. So the only structures that matter for the win condition are the ones over here in the top left. Keep in mind that Lancer can always go back home. He's got a recall available. He has seen how much anti-air there is. So I don't really see, why you wouldn't. So this Nexus is gonna be the target. There is enough energy for a couple abductions, but no way to really finish it off. Void Rays have been building as well in the top right, I guess? Or where have they come from? Yeah. They have come out of some fresh new Stargates, and now the Voids, they had that Speedy Boy upgrade researched ages ago. There's a Parabomb, but good split, easy split. They got their speed upgrade, and it's becoming incredibly critical. Minerals can be spent on Queens and Spore Crawlers, though, and obviously those things do shoot up. Scarlett desperately tries to build up what seems to be a bit of a turtley position. One Spine Crawler trying to see if it can potentially finish off one of those Templar. Okay, we do have another big parasitic bomb on the Mama ship. I mean, that's the easiest split again. That means the Mothership does get denied, though, and it will ultimately fall. Parasitic bombs are nice. Spore Crawlers are nice. Brute Lords are nice, but none of these units are good enough to take care of this Protoss army. And that means that the last mining base of the Zerg is being destroyed. In the meantime, though, the Ultras and the Lings have been going to town on whatever they can find. More Void Rays are coming. Another Nexus just finished up at a base that was previously mined by the Zerg. These Lings are not going to be able to finish the job. What a game. Very cool game, actually. It's going to be a frustrating one, though, for Scarlett. She remade the spawning pool in a very different location than the first. Yeah, there's no way that Scarlett is gonna kill this base. So she may be able to kill all of the other structures around the map, but there's no way. Yeah, she now sees the amounts of photon cannons at this expansion, and she taps out, and it means Lancer ends up winning the series 2-1, playing really, really well.